CNN, this should be one of the biggest stories of our generation, and it is a Democrat caught colluding with Epstein when he was well known to have been a sex offender, trafficking minors. This Democrat says, but he was a constituent. He was texting with her, telling her what to ask Michael Cohen, and they used this to go after Trump under these false criminal charges. Democrats are now trying to pin the whole Epstein thing on Trump. Trump saying it's a hoax. I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. But what I will say is, be it seasonal, be it fatigue, be it just an off year, people are pretty detached from politics right now. And based on this story not getting nearly as much attention as it is, maybe I don't have to be worried just because it's an off-cycle year and people don't really pay attention. But I can't believe this is not a front-page headline extra scandal. Let me show you. So there's two components to the scandal. A failed effort to censure Democrats over texts with Epstein. More importantly, that some Republicans cut a backroom deal with the Democrats to protect this woman who colluded with Jeffrey Epstein. It is shocking. It should be disqualifying for all the Republicans involved. And every Democrat voted to protect her. I'm going to stress this. During a hearing, this is Stacey Plaskett from the Virgin Islands. She, quote, represented Jeffrey Epstein. He texted her about specific names to ask about because Epstein knew about Trump's inner workings to a certain degree, and she did not. And she was using this information to smear Donald Trump. Fascinating. Epstein hated Trump. And Democrats are trying to act like they were friends. But no, actually, now the emails released prove he did not like Trump at all. And they were working with him the whole time. Listen to this.
And I got a text from Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was my constituent, who was not public knowledge at that time that he was under federal investigation.
See what you just did right there?
He was not under federal.
This was February, I believe it was February 27th. It was February of 2019. The Miami Herald story broke in 2018. The investigation of which these issues were going on for a long time, and Jeffrey Epstein had already served time for soliciting a minor for prostitution and got a sweetheart deal. There are some speculating that she was in the pocket of Epstein, that she worked for him, that she was the delegate because he put the money up to make sure that would happen. And that's why she wasn't just colluding, he was telling her what to do. But now, what's just one last point. They were going to just censure her. Mm-hmm. That's it. That means they're going to wiggle their finger at her.
Yep.
And they couldn't even do that because I believe it was 3 Republicans cut a backroom deal to protect a woman working with Epstein. This is insane that they tried to use this against Trump, did it themselves, and then several Republicans defected to protect her.
Yeah. The funny thing is, we were just talking about like your default status of like not trusting politicians. This is why. Like weasel words used to get yourself out of trouble. This is why people have a default status to just not trust anything a government official says, because more often than not, you're going to be right. If you're maybe they're not always lying, but are they always self-interested? Yes, absolutely.
And it goes beyond just one party. Clearly, this is something where Congress will protect Congress because they're hoping that when I need that vote, they'll vote for me. But in this case, she's not even a voting member, right? She's it's the Virgin Islands. I don't know that she even gets to vote on bills.
I got a question for you guys. Phil, you're a rock star. When you have issues related to high-profile hearings about former presidents, current presidents, or frontrunners for the presidency, when you text your member of Congress advice, do they usually just agree with it? Do they give you any pushback and say it's not appropriate, or
They tend not to reply. they tend to ignore me.
You actually have their phone numbers?
Not their phone numbers. I will send a message to the office and say I generally don't get it
when you go to this hearing.
Texting an actual personal line.
That's strange. I mean, what about the rest of you? When you text your member of Congress, how does a conversation usually go?
I get them on WhatsApp.
Yeah, well, they don't respond to my texts unless I'm in prison. Then they're all about like, I need this guy's advice, and then they want to hear me.
That's probably the go-to is get yourself arrested and then.
The point, of course, is she's saying, he was just my constituent.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I text my member of Congress well, to be fair, Riley Moore's a friend of the show. So.
True.
But the point is weasel words. That's what I'm talking about. Weasel words when she says stuff like this, and this is why people don't trust politicians.
Riley replies because he wants to be able to still use the skate park. That's why he actually will reply.
Well, he needs to come skate, Riley.
Is there any word who the Republican members were that were part of this backdoor deal to protect her?
There was a story about it, but like I didn't see. I mean, we could pull the list. It was because I didn't get the names. We could pull up the list of names. Tim Burchett's roasting them, saying a handful of Republicans took a dive on a vote to strip Stacey Plaskett of her position on House Intel because of her ties to Epstein. They did it to protect a Republican facing his own ethics issues from a similar vote. This backroom deal-ish is swampy, wrong, and always deserves to be called out. This is wild. Nancy Mace called it a backroom deal. Democrats are on TV protecting this woman who was literally taking instruction from Jeffrey Epstein to go after Donald Trump. Yeah. And 3 Republicans concerned with Rep. Corey Mills' ethics issues decided to protect Epstein. I got questions.
It is crazy that they started framing Donald Trump as bad by using Jeffrey Epstein as like the example of saying like, well, Jeffrey Epstein said he's bad, so he must be bad. Like, it takes one bad guy to know another, I suppose.
Well, think about that for a moment, right? Because it was Trump's bad because he's best friends with Epstein. Now it's Trump's bad because Epstein hates him.
Yeah.
It's like you can't have it both ways, man. And it's even crazier to me that people will try to defend this, and the same people that try to defend this are the people that regularly morally grandstand about how much empathy they have, and they care about everybody, but they completely ignore the fact that this thing that took place was 11 years after Epstein was charged with child crimes.
Yeah.
They don't care. They just want the W, man.
Yeah,
they just want the win.
It's just about a vector of attack.
Yeah.
They don't like President Trump, so they can go ahead and use, if they can use basically anything that they can use to attack him, they're going to use.
By the way, at this point, when we look at Epstein's body of work, is it considered anti-Semitic to criticize it? Or are we allowed to do it?
Depends on what side of Twitter you're on.
Okay.
Depends on why you're criticizing him. Yeah. If you're criticizing him because of him being friendly with Donald Trump, then it's anti-Semitic. If you're criticizing him when he was attacking Donald Trump, well, then no, it's not anti-Semitic.
That makes perfect sense. It does. I appreciate those rules.
Don Bacon, Lance Gooden, and David Joyce. So that's Nebraska, Texas, and Ohio. And then there were 3 who voted present: Andrew Garbarino, Dan Mauser, and Jay Obernolte.
Like that guy who voted not to release the Epstein files.
That one dude.
That one guy.
That one dude.
What was his name?
He was from Louisiana?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, read the room. Yeah. Like, realize you're going to be the only one. You're going to stand out.
That's like going to like a skating ring when you're a kid for a birthday party, and you go in and there's no one there, and you're like, this is the right place.
It was Clay Higgins, right?
Clay Higgins, yeah.
Yeah, Clay Higgins.
Republican from Louisiana.
Voted not to release the Epstein file. I don't know.
That guy better have just there better be
Where's
0 skeletons in any closet for that guy, because
his argument was that it could harm innocent people.
You sure it wasn't that his constituents would be upset if they released the documents with their names in it?
I mean, possibly. But
and the victims have come out and said that they don't even mind if their names are redacted or not.
There were victims that this is something that I continue to mention. There were victims 2 months ago or so, 3 months ago, that said if they don't release the Epstein files, we're going to get together our own list because the victims, blah blah blah. Where's this list?
What has prevented them from doing that?
On that, the question I always have is, like when Marjorie Taylor Greene has all the victims together and they're doing a, talk to the camera thing, you got all the news organizations there. What stops the victims from just naming names? Like, they're there on camera, the news isn't going to, like, it's live.
Is it a defamation thing? Like, is it literally they're afraid of getting sued by very, very powerful people?
The only thing I can think of is they fear for their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you can get sued if you're making an accurate accusation at a child predator.
But if there's no proof, like unless it's the documents are the only place where proof exists and there's no other proof, then you're making a claim that
this is going to set a lot of people on fire, but it's possible that they don't actually have anything to produce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it seems to me that a lot of people are like talking about, oh, you know, this person's on the list, that person's on the list, et cetera, et cetera. And it seems like this is more of a threat and a way to basically slime people than any kind of actual legitimate substantial threat. Even Elon Musk said, oh, Donald Trump is on the Epstein list.
Right.
They're hanging out again.
What does on the list mean?
Sure.
Does it mean that that was a list of people that he was blackmailing? Or is it just the list of people that have been to the island?
Well, the term has become amorphous now, right? Like you don't even know what it means.
Absolutely.
Like because one of the things that the media was doing for the last several months before they got onto the current train of thought that they have was anytime documents would come out and somebody's like, I was there, Donald Trump was not there. Like Trump was mentioned in documents, which is just them saying that he wasn't there, which is just a way to frame it and make it a bigger case than it is.
That's what it seems like to me. That because nothing has actually materialized that's actionable in any way. It seems like it's just people making threats and using the phrase Epstein list to slime people and to either take heat off themselves or to make accusations that they don't ever have any intent of producing anything substantial there.
It also proves how petty Elon Musk is that he made that tweet that long ago and then now they're back hanging out again.
Maybe. You know, I mean,
I think Elon was emotional during that tweet.
Petty.
He was
Petty and emotional.
that was nuts.
Yeah.
I would never describe Elon as petty and emotional.
No, buying Twitter wasn't petty.
I'm kidding. Elon is, if you took a computer nerd and just cranked all of his emotions to 11, I feel like you get Elon. You know?
Him fighting with Billie Eilish about how he should spend his money. I was like, you don't have to respond, bro.
You know, I got to be honest. I was. You know what I think? I think it is. You know what I think it is? It's happening. I think we were under the boot of a deep state for a long time, and that the views on social media and the ratings on TV were all fake. I think that Mockingbird probably went crazier than people realized, and media was much more controlled than people realized, and the internet kind of broke the machine. Because I've been. You know, right now there's a big behind the scenes for those that are curious in media right now. One of the big concerns is ad rates are way down when they should not be, and viewer count is way down when it should not be. And I'm not just talking about politics. People have been highlighting that there are certain sporting events and hobby YouTube where it's like the views seem low right now, which is odd considering it's getting cold. So and we're near the end of the year, which means ad rates should be going up and views should be going up, but we're seeing many people reporting views are down and ad rates are going down along with it. I can't speak to viewers for the most part. They've dipped a little bit. I think for the most part we've been stable, but ad rates for sure have gone down. I've been talking with a lot of people in media about this phenomenon. What do they think is happening? I think it's largely due to economics and potentially lack of children coming in as older people go out. But part of the conversation is that when we're tracking metrics from other big tech platforms, the one thing we've all started to notice is that they all seem fake. It all seems fake. The numbers are not behaving like humans. We've come to a point right now. I mean, Trump nukes USAID, this slush fund money starts disappearing, and all of a sudden, we see a divergence in the behavior and revenue streams and audience totals as if something was artificially creating a track. Something was artificially making sure certain channels got views and money and certain channels didn't get views and money. And now the data seems to be acting strangely. And for the season, going down. I wonder if. Actually, let me put it like this. You may think I am paranoid, but I will remind you of when Elon Musk announced he put a bid in for Twitter before it was X. Liberals started bleeding followers. Their follower counts were collapsing and conservatives were skyrocketing. And everyone said, how is that possible? Liberals said, oh, it's because everyone's fleeing to other platforms. That wasn't true. So what was happening that made conservatives gain followers? And the response was, people are coming back. No, that doesn't make sense. Millions of people just saw a news report, Elon to buy Twitter, maybe, and they said, guess I'll sign up. I don't think so.
No.
People following liberals on social media, on X, or on Twitter at the time, said, what, Elon might buy the platform? Better leave right now. The theory was that the U.S. government had some kind of they had a backdoor into these platforms. That we know is true. And as soon as it looked like Elon was getting Twitter, they said, quick, burn the evidence. Flicked the switch on whatever weird algorithm was propping up these fake numbers, switching everything, collapsing their fake system. My point ultimately is with Elon, the reason I bring this up is Elon's a weird dude. He does not behave. CEOs behave. And I think it's because, for the most part, they've always been fake. Everybody knows, Deepwater Horizon happens, and then you get the BP guy, we're sorry. I can tell you this. I'd be willing to actually place a wager on the next time there's some kind of disaster. I'll be like, oh, bro, I will write verbatim the speech from the CEO based on the disaster. We know exactly what they're going to say. It's fake. It's plastic. Nobody believes them. Things are changing now. Elon Musk is behaving in very strange ways. It seems like not just with Elon, but with many other facets of our social infrastructure, we're starting to see real people, real numbers, and the machine state that was kind of smoothing things over to create appearances is losing control and kind of disappearing.
I mean, Elon is an example of somebody who's made his brand every bit as much about him as the companies that he runs, but that's not necessarily how the rest of the Fortune 500. I read so much about like David Zaslav and David Ellison and all of these CEOs in the entertainment companies, and they all talk the exact same.
We're not talking in
synergy.
absolutes. I'm not claiming that the old world ceased to exist. I'm saying that the machine state that smoothed things over is waning, and we are starting to see the emergence of real people, real numbers, real metrics, and it defies our expectation because we have lived in a bot-dead internet forever. That is, my theory is, and maybe I'll speak a little bit more on the uncensored portion of the show to avoid potential litigation, but I'll keep it somewhat vague that there are prominent social media platforms whose numbers don't make sense and don't track onto other platforms, implying they are using bots. And as we've already pointed out numerous times in the past, it is a fact that prominent social media sites use bots to prop up viewer count. I'll give you an example. It is known that the CEO, the co-founders of Reddit, when they first launched the site, created fake accounts, sock puppets, to interact with users so they would believe there was real engagement on the platform. They faked it. This has been the case for many big social media platforms. I think what's happening now with, people have complained like, why are my views down? When Elon bought Twitter, they were like, my views are down now. And it's like, maybe because they were never there in the first place. Yeah. And what was happening was there was a machine state that said, if someone says something that's anti-Trump, pump it up. If someone says something that is pro-Trump, drop it down. Elon comes in, and they're like, quick, run for the hills. And now people are going, why are my numbers different? Why are my subscriber, growth different?
And and there's no question the big tech companies, Twitter before Elon and Zuckerberg, YouTube, they've all had a political agenda. That's just so obvious. You look at the Twitter files, the Biden administration instructing them on who and what to censor. It would make sense. Not only are they like censoring conservatives, but doing the fake optics to make their side who supports their agenda, fake optics make them look, more popular, which then helps them gain more popularity. So to me, what you're saying, theoretically, it makes sense.
Yeah, I remember prior to Elon Musk, getting Twitter, and switching it to X, I remember I would log in and my feed would just, every single profile picture was just a politician with their little tie on, and it was a statement, and it had 100,000 likes and no engagement. And I remember everything I was seeing, I would have to pretty much mute things like that because it would be my entire feed. And then you have this, like Tim said, this machine kind of collapsing. And then at the same time, in my opinion, you have people trying to gravitate, especially after COVID, like what me and Phil were talking about, after seeing all the fakeness and all of what I call corpo speak, you see people gravitating towards real people that have real emotions and real reactions to things, and they don't try to hide these things. And yeah, it can be a little coarse sometimes, but people want realness. They're tired of hearing we're sorry you feel that way. I had I've been in a spat with YouTube the past 2 days because they started
charging you.
They started charging me every day.
Is it actually like they're charging you? Like you will get like less money?
Yeah. So, my revenue was supposed to be like a couple $1,000s, and I checked it, and it was pretty much zero. And I was like, what's going on? And it was just, I've never had a negative day in 7 years on YouTube. And it was like negative 200, negative 98, negative 140, negative. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the end of my life. It's over. And, YouTube keeps telling me to talk to, the customer support. And they're just like, they don't even know what I'm talking. They don't even know what I'm referring to. Right. And, YouTube finally emailed me after it was trending all day today. But, it's pretty devastating watching your revenue go down. And that's the thing is people
It's
are
one
tired
thing to watch
of
it go down. It's another thing to be like, you owe us money.
Yeah, it was like negative. It was like negative. And I was like,
Dude, your AdSense is terrible. Cody, you are like, you're costing us money.
What's your average? My average view duration is negative 30 seconds.
You could make the argument that if what you were looking at before was bots and a corporate structure that was designed to make everything look more popular than it was, then you had a bunch of neoliberal company owners or even leftist company owners who then, once that was kind of pulled apart when Elon bought X and they had to pivot, now they're all like, you know what, we're kind of free. I'm kind of a free speech advocate myself over here at Meta. And Mark Zuckerberg starts doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu and pretending like he's human. Like we're at a point now where they're trying to actually manufacture authenticity where it's not even really there.
That's a great point,
and be
man.
real, the conservatives fell for it. They're like, I like that Mark Zuckerberg guy now because he kind of is acting like a real person.
He is the most spineless person I've ever met. I would have more respect for the guy if once Trump took office, he still stood for censorship. Like, this is like, I don't agree with that, but if he authentically believed it, I can respect a guy who stands for what he believes in. But as soon as Trump takes office, he's just like so spineless. Like, we should definitely, have free speech and open this up. It's like you believe in nothing, you autistic guy.
That was his kind of stance. Like back in the day, right? He thought he would come across as a libertarian kind of minded dude, and before
supposedly Jack Dorsey as well.
Yeah,
back in the day,
and
right?
actually Jack Dorsey, like when he sold Blue Sky because Blue Sky became what it is, and he's like, I can't. He's just like, I can't with these people.
So he brought Vine back instead.
Yeah, and not to say that I think that he's particularly principled or anything like that, but I do think that the pressure from the government, like when the government says, hey, we need you to do this, even just making the remark, we want you to do this, that everybody feels like it's a threat. If you get a letter from the IRS, everybody's like, oh,
The guy's like, sure would be a shame if you
Yeah.
got audited.
Yeah, it's like if the eye of Sauron looks at you, you start sweating. And that's really kind of what the government is. So not that I'm saying that, not that I'm, making excuses or whatever, but it is understandable to be Mark Zuckerberg with one of the biggest companies in the world. And then the federal government's like, hey, maybe you should help us out. And obviously he got wrapped up and allowed them to do things that he shouldn't have. And it is good that he said, okay, wait a minute, maybe we shouldn't do this. He should have stood on principle earlier and not let them do that. But I do understand how, the government saying, hey, we want you to do this, what that kind of does to basically anybody.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.